On my YouTube channel, I'm going to read out a statement, and this statement is my official statement about the Ali Nagor Choudhurys. Okay, and this statement can be found on the Love Desh website as well as my own personal website. So this is a statement being issued to my siblings, Nazmul Hassan Chowdhury, Mintu, Nazmin Chowdhury Parvin, Nazrin Chowdhury, Shilpi, Jasmine Chowdhury, Lucky, and my mother, RM Chowdhury, and other members, extended members of the Chowdhury family in Bangladesh, UK, Europe, USA, born to or related to the late Al-Hajj Abdul Mukit Chowdhury, a British citizen but also with heritage from Bangladesh, who was born in Alinagar, Biyanibazar. This message and official response also includes the many second and distant cousins. This is also a message for the British Bangladeshi community, the global Muslim community, diaspora, and Bangladeshi diaspora across the world. Next week, it is Eid ul-Adha. And I'm proud to launch yet again, for the second time, during Eid, my campaign under the hashtag Eid Say Her Name. This is a hashtag campaign to talk about the hurt, the destruction, the deprivation, neglect, rape and sexual assault happening to Muslim and non-Muslim women, and those obviously identifying as non-binary, at the hands of those who identify as Muslim, men or women. Islam does not allow any harm to come to people or planet. I know there are individuals who will twist this faith, but I want you to hear my story. Also talking as a chief executive of a British company, Love Desh, as a businesswoman, a woman who was raised in a cult Orthodox Muslim community in London during the 1970s. I was force-fed a diatribe of evil tribal mixed culture, mixed with patriarchy, the desire to, place the needs of men and male gender over and above everything, and a spattering of Islamic law, which was all fused together, served up to my very young mind. And despite questioning all of this, even as a young child, I was shut down by elders and adults who continued to destroy the legacy left behind by Islam and good Muslims. And I now ask all good Muslims around the world to take note of what happened to me at the hands of so-called devout Muslims, many of whom are my own flesh and blood. Yet the pursuit of greed and unethical conduct and corruption is the overwhelming modus operandi that my own family and extended family, whom I call the Ali Nagor Choudhurys, have chosen to inflict upon me, and in doing so have caused and created great damage to people and planet, some of whom are the world's most poorest and vulnerable. And I refuse not to be allowed nor permitted to stand up for them. But I have been bullied for doing so. And I stand up not just for myself, but for those who have been hurt by the actions of my own flesh and blood, my siblings, my mother. And I feel deeply ashamed and embarrassed, and on behalf of my own blood family, I want to apologize to the poorest communities, anyone who has suffered at the hands of the Ali Nagor Choudhury, even though it was not of my own doing. And I would also remind any Muslims who are listening and who are obsessed and are upset at the fact that I am talking about my family so publicly, I remind you of the chapter in the Quran, An-Nisa 4:135, in which we Muslims are instructed to bear witness against injustice, even if it is against our own kin and family. Because here's the thing, the rights of the poorest, the rights of the vulnerable, the rights of those who have no voice come over and above family honor, which is a social construct and has no place in Islam. I'm really sorry. Not when basic human rights are being transgressed, as has happened. And as a reminder, what I'm about to share with you is being done to help make this world a better and safer place. To try and reach out also to my family members publicly and ask them immediately put right the wrong done. And to know that there is always compassion and forgiveness from me, but only after redemption, and that their behavior has to be exposed in order to protect my well-being. But know this, I spent 14 years privately reaching out to them. They ghosted me. I wrote and wrote every letter, they didn't respond. A few relatives reached out to them. They refused to come to the table. You see, all it takes for evil to flourish is for good people to do nothing. And that is the modus operandi. And with the fact that they use their religious attire, their outward religious appearance to actually hide some of the corruption that they have been undertaking. But this behavior has to be exposed because it's been harming my well-being as well as that of my projects and the people that Love Dish works with and the projects that I've been self-financing from my own pocket, as well as that of my youngest daughter, Amber Choudhury K, who from the 1st of July 2021, because of the horrendous onslaught I've been subjected to as a social entrepreneur, as a lone businesswoman, as a CEO fighting injustice and human rights issues, has now and since been removed from Love Dish and is now working on her own company to keep her safe because she's not involved in any of this. And so as I share my story, I want to warn others, because here's the good news. I know that there are 1.6 billion Muslims who are brilliant, care, and we are a wonderful community. And that sadly, due to poisonous pockets inhabited by a few rotten apples, we have and must talk about their poisonous behavior within this community and how it's ruining it for the majority and how it's destroying the reputation of Muslims and is given a false impression of our beautiful faith and religion, Islam. And to also remind any woman, man watching this that what's happened to me could easily happen to you. And I'm sharing it so it doesn't happen and that we can protect more and that nobody has to endure the horrors that I had to. So, with that aside, who am I? I'm Yasmin Choudhury. I'm the middle daughter, third child of the late Al-Hajj Abdul Mukit Choudhury. He was a British citizen. His birthplace was Alinagar in Biani Bazar. That is within the district of Sylhet in Bangladesh. He came to the UK in the 1950s, late 1950s. And sadly, he died unexpectedly in 2004. And like many, he did not take adequate precaution or steps to look after and distribute his wealth according to Islamic rites, and he was also misled and misinformed by very corrupt people in my family. He left an estate in the UK and in Bangladesh, in property, in assets, in cash, in a number of ways, which I believe back in 2004 would have been worth over £2 million. I now present slowly evidence through YouTube, through TikTok, through my website, yasminchoudhury.com and Love Dish, of how my own Choudhury family are just one of an array of renegades who have worked collectively to destroy my not-for-profit British social enterprise Love Dish, which I financed all by myself, and that it has been hurt in the past, in the present, and will be hurt in the future if I don't take steps to protect the work being done, for which we have won awards, with which I have won Entrepreneur of the Year at the National British Muslim Awards. Now, I've already shared that Love Dish is a not-for-profit luxury brand on a mission to protect our planet. All profits go back into the business, and we work with very destitute people who are starving, who are in need of jobs. Since I registered Love Dish in January 2012 as a British company, let me tell you what's happened to me as a Muslim woman who was educated at university. I've suffered abuse, violence, lost my home, been made homeless, lost my money, had my mental, physical, emotional well-being impacted, so much so that today I'm finally speaking up on the array of those in my family who continue to seek to destroy the work I'm doing to help some of the most vulnerable. I've been left partly because of their actions disabled today. This has been recognised by the doctors, and I now present also evidence of how my siblings and my brother-in-law Enamul Haq Choudhury are complicit in modern-day slavery, poverty and domestic abuse of the very poorest. Now, on a series of societal crises, I as a CEO, I'm tasked with combating all of this through the work I do at Love Dish, which I said is on a mission to protect people and planet. But how can I be doing this when my own flesh and blood are also destroying people and planet? And I think sometimes we have to take steps to actually sort out what's going on within our own communities before we start trying to be role models or attempting to convince others that they should join me in the work I'm doing. But that's not to say they're not mutually exclusive. I am Yasmin. I'm one half of a mother and daughter design duo, and since 2008, I've been exploring the root causes of poverty. And in doing so, I sadly, regrettably, stumbled in and discovered deep corruption, theft, and it's not just within my own blood community family. It's also right across many industry sectors, from charity to politics to fashion campaigners to NGOs to many individuals. But we'll come on to that later because they all form part of the Love Dash 10 Plus files, my own memoirs, talking about the highs and horrors of trying to deliver good and what I've observed. And today, Love Dash is proud to have launched already a reminder that last year, on Martin Luther King, Friday 31st July, we launched a campaign called MLK I Had, as in Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. That was last year. And we launched a campaign called hashtag Save Jannah to bring a child, a victim of modern day slavery, who also is a child of the parents who suffered in the Rana Plaza factory collapse in Bangladesh. We wanted to bring Jannah to the UK for medical treatment. But unfortunately, none of that happened. A lot of my work was destroyed, and I now want to present a series of exposés based on factual evidence of the many array of unethical individuals and organisations who have prevented, damaged or hurt the grassroots work I, an award-winning entrepreneur, has been doing, which I was doing with my daughter, aged 7, along my side. And the betrayal, treachery, falsehoods, exploitation, threats, horror, torture, pain and punishment that her and I have suffered are too much, and I think the world needs to know. For 15 years, I even tried to stay silent and work behind the scenes. I was told that if I complained, apparently nobody would work with Love Dash, doesn't want to be connected with those of us who stand up for injustice, that apparently it's negative for business. Well, here is my message for you. If you wish organisations like Love Dash and me, as a CEO, to protect our people and planet and plants, it's always going to be messy. Conflict will always occur. Danger is always arriving to threaten us social entrepreneurs. There is no quick win, quick fix. It is why not many people do this work, because it is dangerous and you don't get any thanks. It is thankless. So if my work is too negative, if you find that the work I'm doing presents conflict for you, please do me a favor, stay away, because you're not right for us. We want to work with people who actually believe in a better world where we will work without fear or favor, without having to look over our shoulders, and we can talk about those who, despite contacting privately to do the right thing, continue to ignore us, continue to destroy us, and we have every right to come out and expose them. So, if you or your brand are someone I want to do business with, then come and talk to us, all right? But I do refuse to do business with those who do not have courage to stand by those of us who had the moral valor to challenge the wrong being done to the world and to the poorest and the vulnerable communities. Now, first up, the Choudhury family. I possess evidence on an array of Choudhurys who have undertaken, I believe, in my genuine opinion, criminal and illegal activities that breaks British and Bangladeshi law. Also, of accomplices that allowed me and stood by and said nothing while I, a British Muslim woman, and my daughter were abused, threatened, cheated, and had my business and personal life destroyed repeatedly due to coercive control, physical, emotional, financial, psychological abuse, theft, violence, bullying, honour abuse, as well as what's known as slut shaming, where certain people exploit and spread falsehoods about my character, claiming that I acted inappropriately relating to sexual misconduct. All right. I now name Nazmin Choudhury, my eldest sister, who is a British solicitor for NC Law. I now name Nazmul Choudhury, who appeared in the Channel 4 programme Risking It All. He is known in the Bengali community as Mintu. He's younger than me. I name my twin sister, Jasmine Choudhury, who works for the Metropolitan Police and also a trustee at Gingerbread. And to announce that I've already reported Gingerbread to the Charities Commission for, I believe, covering up Jasmine Choudhury's failures and her objectionable conduct, and for and they did nothing. And also Nazreen Choudhury, who is my younger sister, known as Shilpi, and she's currently writing the script for the next Rami Malek movie and is known as Shilpi. And I'm calling on BAFTA and every single organisation to strip her of her professional work, because she has been secretly behind closed doors bullying. And I also am asking that Rami Malek and his agent and all production companies stand down from using Nazreen Choudhury. Okay, yes, I will, because Nazreen has caused a lot of damage. The accomplices are also Enamul Haq Chowdhury, the husband of Nazmin Chowdhury, the British solicitor. He's right now in Bangladesh, who has been caught attempting to make poor person homeless. He's also taken control of my father's estate and refuses to allow me to do charity or business or have access to my inheritance, and he's using my late father's property illegally. Imtiaz Chowdhury, his son, Mikhail Chowdhury, Enamul Haq Chowdhury's son, Nadia Chowdhury, as well as Jahangir Alam Chowdhury, a distant cousin, who has been complicit. Faisal Ahmad Chowdhury, who is a CEO of Barak Power out in Bangladesh. Fahim Ahmad Chowdhury, his brother. Rushi, who is Faisal Ahmad Chowdhury's wife, who has set up a school in Sylhet, and who all of them know about the sexual assault that was undertaken upon me, but have stayed silent and refused to assist me and are enabling to cover up Saleh Ahmed Khosru, another first cousin. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of first cousins complicit. And what we have, just to recap, is not only my inheritance has been stolen, I've been physically, emotionally abused, I've been threatened, I've had my charity, poverty projects all destroyed out in Bangladesh back in 2015. Nobody said anything, nobody was able to control them. But worst of all, Saleh Ahmed Khosru was actually someone who sexually assaulted me in my late father's house in September 2019. My family were informed, as was Faisal Ahmad Chowdhury, as was Fahim Ahmad Chowdhury, as was Rushi, and they've stayed silent. So now I'm going to be calling for their organisations to strip them, and that Faisal Ahmad Chowdhury and Saleh Ahmad Chowdhury do not stand ever to represent the BNP or the political party, because they are an utter disgrace. Okay? I possess 15 years of evidence, texts, emails, videos, audio clips, third-party witnesses, all of that. I have also attempted over years to reach out to them privately, but I was ghosted. I've got letters I will publish. I've had few members of relatives try to reach out to them who were then suffering reprisals for having to try and represent my interests. But I now have also informed all necessary authorities. So I have asked the relevant authorities to place an injunction for them to actually enter Bangladesh, or if they are in Bangladesh, to be investigated, because not only for me, but because of the actions they've taken to bully poor people. And as soon as I can, I also plan to arrive under the protection of the British government, because my MP has written to Dominic Raab, the foreign minister, to actually enable me to go to Bangladesh to report the Chowdhury family for crime and for me to be allowed to present evidence. I also spoke to British police back in May 2020 about the theft, the lying and the fraud, as well as the violence and abuse committed upon me by Chowdhurys on British soil, and that is now going to be investigated, because I have asked for a meeting with Cressida Dick, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, as well as the Croydon Metropolitan Police Borough Commander, as well as the Mayor of London. All right? I'm aware that the Chowdhury family believe they're above the law and can get away with such illegal and criminal activities. And if they're not deemed to be criminal activities, certainly they're human rights violations. And under the Modern Day Slavery Act of the UK, they are not allowed to oppress or hurt others, but they have been. I want you all to know that 2020, 2021, during the pandemic, it's a different world now. And today, I no longer stand alone. In 2015, they destroyed me. They did so much hurt, and I had to build Lovedesh all from scratch, for which I lost money, for which I will be asking for damages. But behind me is an army of good souls, known as the Lovedesh TikTok fam, the Lovedesh army, ready to assist and support me, because nobody wants these horrific examples of Chowdhuries, the Ali Nagor Choudhurys, and all their accomplices and their dodgy flying monkeys, which is a term used by psychologists to understand and explain how narcissists or bullies work, to operate, be it they are in UK, Sweden, Bangladesh, USA. You need to be called out, and Ali Nagor Choudhurys are now going to be known around the world for what they've done. But I also am working because I've reported to British police who are already taking my evidence, and I cannot comment any further as the British police investigate, okay? And they have told me that they will review everything, and if there is any evidence of abuse, be it text, witnesses or emails, that they have power to arrest. Now, I'm hoping it doesn't come to this. I will also hand over evidence of how my mother was not only racist, but also her domestic abuse towards me, and how individuals like Nazrin Chowdhury Shilpi allowed that racism and Jasmine Chowdhury to flourish, okay? And I'm already ensuring that Nazrin Chowdhury is reported to the US Embassy in the UK to alert them of her conduct and of her actions, not only towards me, but to Lovedesh, and in being complicit, in my opinion, okay, my humble opinion, of modern day slavery, because she has been told about abuse towards me, told about abuse towards rural villagers, and did nothing. And I don't understand how this woman is allowed to operate in the United States of America and is writing about Black Lives Matter. But I've noticed recently she's blocked me on Instagram because, of course, what will also emerge is her actions in 2015, where she hired British solicitor to try and gag me from taking steps to protect poor rural villagers, and threatened me by taking me to court, okay? Because let me tell you, people are using vexatious, legal, spurious claims to attempt to gag whistleblowers like me. And I'm also a British actress, and it is untenable in today's culture in light of Epstein, Weinstein, Me Too, so much more, Sarah Everard, that Nazrin Chowdhury and my siblings, Jasmine Chowdhury, Nazmin Chowdhury, Nazmul Chowdhury, and his wife, Reema Rofe, a British citizen who once worked for the BBC, think that they can lead dual lives. Hollywood, good souls, everyone is now working hard to ensure that those who are bullied and their perpetrators and abusers are being made to feel the consequences when factual evidence is presented, which is what I present. I'm also aware that my brother Naz, and his wife Reema have apparently fallen out with my sisters. Reema Rofe, she is a mother. She's someone I also hold accountable and have named today. And in 2006, when she arrived into our family through an arranged marriage, and having lived in a council flat, immediately with my brother began to destroy this family, our wealth and my father's legacy. And this is something that needs to be talked about, because Reema Rofe is sadly internalized misogynist, okay, alongside with my sisters, and has ensured the demise of a woman like me. And this happened on her watch and that of my sisters. But I don't blame Reema, because why would I when my own sisters are horrific? So therefore, I can't expect much from Reema. But I hope, Reema, if you're watching this, yeah, you actually sit down and know that through redemption, through doing the right thing, hopefully, that you and I can talk one day, because I know that you were not born this way. Neither were my sisters. You were warped into becoming human beings who chose and made poor decisions. And quite frankly, I'm also disturbed by how all of the nephews and nieces of mine, particularly those children belonging to Nazmin Chowdhury and Enamul Haq Chowdhury, Imtiaz Hassan Chowdhury, Nadia Chowdhury, Mikhail, have become. You watched while I was fasting in 2015 and allowed me to become homeless. Not once did you pick up the phone. And now I have asked for those organisations connected to you to actually look into your conduct. I have asked and will be asking all your universities to look as to whether or not they believe that you do deserve any academic qualifications, because it is not okay for you to profiteer from the demise of others, but most of all, the poorest. And when I came and I told you that your mother Nazmin had hit a disabled epileptic woman, Nadia, you wrote to me an email talking about angels. You do realise that you have been force-fed a very, very wicked, disgraceful, false version of Islam. And it is my job as your aunt to still love and care for you, but in doing so, sometimes it has to be tough love. So I don't care. I don't need you to love me. I don't need you to like me. But what I do know is you do have to be exposed, because I waited for 5 years and you did nothing. All right? So let me make clear in no uncertain terms. To my Chowdhury Ali Nagor family, do not touch my late father's properties. Enamul Haq Chowdhury, leave my father's property immediately. Because, in my opinion, you are fraudsters. You have denied me inheritance, you destroyed my charity, and I also want damages from all of you, including Faisal Ahmad Chowdhury, Fahim Ahmad Chowdhury, Rushi Ahmad Chowdhury. And the fact that you have built land in Ali Nagor and a house without my permission, because you told me that I could do charity, but here you are building a private property, is unacceptable. So I have written, and I'm writing to Sheikh Hasina, Her Honourable Sheikh Hasina, to take action. All right, I will not let this go. And I also want the Bangladeshi government to assist those of us with land rights, with inheritance shares, to have this looked into, and to also get the British taxpayers to understand that many Muslim families have wealth. And by employing that wealth, it means that there's more money in the treasury, more money for others. We should not have to be claiming child tax credits, working tax credit, okay? My father left me enough money, and I feel disgusted that the British taxpayer has had to support me as a single mother, let alone the money that should have been paid by the father of Amber. But I'm not going to go into that. That's a separate one. Number 2, do not visit Ali Nagor where you have bullied villagers. Stay away. None of you should be allowed into Ali Nagor, and I have already making sure that the chairman of Ali Nagor knows how corrupt you all are. You need to stay in your own basha. Whatever you do, rent a place, stay in a hotel. But if I do hear that Enam and Nasmin have continued to enter my father's property, knowing that they bullied people, while I can't legally enforce that, know this, inshallah, then there are consequences, because I will continue to expose what you did. None of you should be allowed into Ali Nagor. And third, I'm asking that the Imam is removed in my local village, because I wrote to him asking for help and he did nothing, and he's been complicit. And not just that, he enabled Enamul Haq Chowdhury to host an Islamic sermon for men, but nobody else was told or informed. The idea that a brother-in-law can step into my father's property and act as if he is the owner shows just how much my family worship male genitals and male gender. I also refuse to hand over my inheritance and shares to my elders or to any other relative. I want all damages due to me, and I don't care what you have to do to make sure you put right the wrong done. I don't care whether it's selling your own property, whether it's, I don't want you to get a loan, but you can sell your own property, you can sell your gold, do whatever it takes, but I want every penny. And you've gone too far this time, because I'm sick and tired of people who have come to me saying that they're being bullied, being made homeless. And number 4, Nasmin Chowdhury, you need to be stripped of your title as a British solicitor. All right? You should not be allowed into Bangladesh. You should not be allowed to practice, but you also did defraud me. You are a criminal, and you lied, and you attempted to get me arrested, and now I will publish the letter that the Solicitors Regulations Authority wrote to you saying you shouldn't do this again, because if you do, then they may take further action. They should have taken more serious action. They didn't, but that's why you're out of control, okay? And finally, to my brother, you were the start and cause of all of this, and my elder sister. I will read out the email, Nazmul, that you wrote to my daughter. It is so disgusting, because my daughter tried to reach for you privately. She wanted to save you because she knew that my last attempt would be exposing my family. But she came to you privately saying, Uncle, please don't. Please, can you just handle it? She was so polite. You mistreated her. Not one Eid have you helped her. You deprived this child. Now she's 20 years old, right? Let me tell you something, Nazmul Hassan Chowdhury, yeah? Your reputation is in tatters. I don't care that you have and you claim mental health, but I'm going to release the audio clip of where you are beating me up. You were allowed to get away with disgusting behaviour towards your older sister, all for wealth, yeah? So here's what's going to happen. I will take as damages every single asset of my father's. Every single asset. First, I will take what is rightfully mine, then I will take damages, and then the rest will be left over and put in trust to benefit the poorest. You do not deserve that. Now, you can either pay this or you can wait until my death and the hereafter to do right, but I will never let this go. And know this, it is not my duty to correct you. You are old enough, you're wise enough, right? Or so you think. You are now 49 years old and you have behaved with disgrace. But most of all, you were brought up in a very disgusting tribal culture where you sat there being violent to your own sisters. In 2011, you attempted to strangle your own blood sister, Nazmin Choudhury. How do I know? I've got the text where she admitted it to me. And there were a room full of people and they did nothing. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. For the sake of your children, have shame. Have shame. I feel so worried that my nephews and nieces have been brought up by corrupt, narcissistic siblings. And as much as you would have suffered damage at the hands of my parents, so did I. But look at what I've done. But the worst of all, you destroyed my charity, Amkriza, in 2015. You had people die on your watch. And let's talk about Rustum. Let's talk about Ainul. Let's talk about Jolly Begum. And I'm going to make sure that perhaps my Ali Nagor Choudhury family face manslaughter charges because you had a duty to protect and looked after staff in your pay, but they died on your watch. And that is neglect. And we are going to talk about the connection that you have to the Mayor of London's younger brother and why in 2014 you managed to get Brixton Police to insist I come into a room with no representation, no solicitor, nothing, and the British police attempted to get me to sign a document asking that I leave you alone. Do you know why? Because you threatened the Muslim Women's Network, didn't you? And you stopped them from publishing a story that I wanted to write about my experiences as a Muslim woman. You threatened them. Then they dumped me, and then you went to running to the Brixton police, gave a false account, said that you were being harassed by me, but you weren't. Because all I was asking for was my inheritance, and I was asking you to leave me alone because I'd had to call police out on you. Now, all of that's going to be published, all right? Now, here's the good news, yeah? After this diatribe, it's now coming on to 31 minutes. It's going to take a while for it to load, right? Nazmin, Nazmul, Jasmine, Nazrin. You've got a choice. We all have choices. You can either scramble and help me open a store in central London, right? And on Martin Luther King, the anniversary of I Have a Dream, Love Dash plans to open a London store. Not only do I need money for that, that's why I want my inheritance. I don't want to take loans. You know as well as I do, an Islam loan isn't allowed. It's funny how you don't eat pork, you won't drink alcohol, but you do allow your sister to actually be in a situation with a mortgage and refuse to hand over money that's rightfully mine. But not just that. Worst of all, I stitched on an industrial sewing machine when I was a young girl at the age of 13, 12. In a cellar, while you all sat there watching television. I contributed to the family wealth. I lived with my family until I was 30 and I was donating and giving money because I was told that all of this money I earned that I would give to my family would all come good because my brother would ultimately look after the family assets and look after me when my father died. But you didn't do that, did you, Nazmul? Neither did you, Nazmin. So that is why you've got two choices. You can either help and put right the wrong done, or I will continue to ask for every organisation, every authority, every professional connection to stop working with you. You are going into the Love Dash Hall of Horrors. And know this, right? Just do the right thing. Or continue to fight me, Yasmin Choudhury, award-winning Chief Executive of Love Dash, and know that I will operate without fear of favour and do so until the day I die. I'm not going to let this go. No, I won't. And hopefully through this exercise, through this horror, through this expose, a lot of Muslim families will start to have discussions, and maybe Muslim fathers will start scrambling to do the right thing by their daughters, to realise just how corrupt some of their sons could become if they don't follow Islamic law. Because it's funny, isn't it? You're obsessed about Islam. You have been to Hajj, but when it comes to following Islamic law that makes sure women are protected and given their financial rights, you don't want to be seen doing it. You ignore it. You completely trample over what's been written in the Quran. I just don't understand why you just don't eat a can of Spam or, I don't know, eat a bacon roll. Because at least that's just a private sin. But what you've done, all of you, is a disgrace. So here's the thing. I'm going to go off now. I'm going to make sure that BAFTA, Hollywood, everyone stops working with Nazrin Choudhury. Nazrin, come, take me to court if all of you want to. The minute you do, guess what I'll do? I will hire solicitors and I will raise a crowdfunding and I will actually see you to defend my case and any allegation of defamation, because everything I've said has been backed up by facts, and not just that, I've got letters, all of which will be published. All right, I wish you well. It is Eid. You've got 7 days to make a difference. It's my daughter's 20th. I hardly have any money. All right, you've deprived her. You've done such wrong. Mother and daughter were separated. She was put into a boarding school by charities. All of that money has to be paid back. No, of course it does. So do the right thing. You take care, and I look forward to speaking to you all. And all of this will be published as a script on Love Desh and the Yasmin Choudhury website, which also is currently powered by Love Desh. Okay, so if you're going to send any lawsuits, please send them in the name of Love Desh Limited. All right, hopefully we sort this out. If not, much love and affection. All right, Allah Hafiz from your sister Yasmin Choudhury.